Hey everybody, it's LTM here. I'm at Hall Cinema 7 right now. If you can see it, I hope so. I'm about to go and watch Ruby Gilman, Teenage Kraken. And before anybody asks, I will go watch Indiana Jones pretty soon, I promise, because I know a lot of people want me to go see it and get my thoughts on it, so I will do that as soon as I can. But first, I gotta get Ruby Gilman off of my to-do list. So, DreamWorks Animation has been doing a lot. Let me just start out by saying I am a huge fan of DreamWorks. I know technically their films like, say, Trolls or Troll Hunters are more aimed for a younger audience, and I haven't seen those movies. But I do like some of their older works like Shrek, Madagascar, How to Train Your Dragon, Kung Fu Panda, The Croods. I love those movies. Some of my favorite animated films of all time even. And judging by this movie in particular, it has been getting, the past couple months, it has been getting some controversy. In fact, this movie wasn't announced until like 3 months before the film was even released. Like, I think it was announced in like March or maybe February, I think. So this movie's been, it hasn't been, not many people are seeing this film because not many people know about it, and because a lot of people have been comparing it to the Little Mermaid remake, which is kind of an unfair comparison because this is not a Ants and Bugs Life situation, so I don't know. But then again, we may get something really batshit insane. I would love to get something like that, like something like, say, B-Movie or Boss Baby in that sort of regard, where it's just a batshit crazy movie and there's so much chaos in it. I hope we get a film like that here. I'm going to try to keep an open mind. I heard people are very split with this movie, so I don't know what I'll think of it, but I'll give you all my thoughts when I come back. This is LTM, and I'll be right back. Okay, everybody, I just got out of Ruby Gilman, Teenage Kraken. I want to make one thing abundantly clear. If you have kids or you enjoyed this movie, that is great. Ruby Gilman, Teenage Kraken was alright. It's not great, but it's also not terrible. I thought it was alright, but I have to admit, comparing this to like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish or The Bad Guys, this one is kind of weak. Like I said, not a bad film, and if you enjoyed it a lot more than I did, that's awesome. It just didn't do much for me. So, Ruby Gilman, Teenage Kraken, it's on an island full of, on an island, her and her family live on an island full of humans, and she's banned from going into the water and banned from going to prom. But one day, while trying to save her prom date that she's trying to propose to, she starts realizing these powers that she has and realize that she's more than just a Kraken, she's a monster. And the rest of the movie is just her teaming up with this mermaid that ends up being the new girl, and they start bonding and stuff like that. But then there's this weird twist where the mermaid was actually the villain and just wanted this little anchor or this little fork thing that, you know, those Triton things, you know what I'm talking about, like the little forks or whatever, or Triton things or whatever, and wants to take control of the world. The best way to, well, I know a lot of people have been comparing this film to, like, say, The Little Mermaid or any of the John Hughes films or Lady A. In fact, a lot of the director, I think the movie said, this movie was inspired by a lot of John Hughes films, Lady A, Booksmart. That's kind of in this film, but I think there's one movie people forgot to compare this movie to, and that's Turning Red. This is Turning Red, but with a different coat of paint. At least that's how I viewed it. And if you don't believe me, just go watch Turning Red and then come back and watch Ruby Gilman, and trust me, it's a very similar concept and similar ideas and even a similar plot. But as far as this movie goes, it's fine. It's nothing I'm going to remember anytime soon, but it's going to, like I said, this is going to be a hard movie to recommend because let's get to the positives out of the way. The animation, like every DreamWorks movie, is fantastic. The visuals are colorful. It looks pretty. The underwater stuff is fantastic. It looks great. I think the one problem I have with the animation is the designs of the characters. The character designs are trying to be a little more Trolls, Boss Baby sort of designs. In fact, the movements and the pacing is really fast paced. It's like boom, 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 boom. You got to keep moving, and it's like this is a really fast paced movie, and the character designs just kind of look uncanny somewhat. Maybe not uncanny, but just a little bit goofy looking, which is to be expected from a DreamWorks movie, but these just kind of looked unappealing to me. But the animation, for the most part, is pretty good. The music's fine for the most part, and the voice acting does a really good job. I forgot the cast that's in this movie, but most of the voice actors do a good job. And the moral, while done to death, is executed pretty well. It's just everything else, like the turning red similarities for me. The key points of the plot are very shallow, just very shallow. It's just lazy and sometimes a little bit confusing. And honestly, I did find some of the funny parts funny. Usually the best parts are usually in the trailer, but like I said, the movie wasn't all that funny to me. There are some good lines from there's a few good lines and a couple decent jokes, but nothing stood out. Ruby Gilman overall is just kind of a standard kids film. The big thing when really if you plan on going to this movie, is that this is aimed for kids. You could argue that the movie was trying to be more for older kids and teenagers, since technically that's what the movie is kind of trying to appeal to, but it's clearly for kids. There's a difference between kids' films and family films. Family films appeal to both kids and adults. This is clearly for kids. If you have kids, or if you're just out of curiosity, you want to go check this movie out, but you end up enjoying it anyways, that's great. But for me, I'm just kind of in the middle of it. And a little bit disappointed, because this movie could have had a lot of potential. But as it is, Ruby Gilman, Teenage Kraken is just a middle-of-the-road kids film. Is it awful? Not by any means, and there are some good things I like in it. That's why I'm saying it's not the worst. And in fact, I've seen worse with DreamWorks. DreamWorks Animation is one of those studios that I do take pleasure in seeing, even when they have their cringeful moments. Plus, they can have good writing, visuals, and dialogue. It's just, I've seen them better. But on the other hand, I've seen them at their worst as well. Whether it be Shrek the Third, or Spirit Untamed, or even Shark Tale. So, overall, if you have kids, they'll enjoy it fine, but if you're an adult or just want something more, this is not going to do it for you. But I give Ruby Gilman a 6 out of 10. Not bad, but it could have been a lot better. Alright guys, that's Ruby Gilman, Teenage Kraken. I will get to Indiana Jones maybe sometime this weekend or next week, just depending on what's going on. This is 4th of July weekend, so I've got a lot of things going on, so it'll just depend on what's going on. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. What's your favorite DreamWorks movie? I would love to hear it from you guys. Please subscribe, comment below, let me know. This is LT signing out, and I'll see you guys next time.